Hello everyone and welcome to your NARSA weekly update for the week commencing Monday the 29th of December 2025. It's Gary here again, and this is the last pod for 2025, and what a journey 2025 has been. And what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to keep it as upbeat as I possibly can. There's not a lot to complain about from this last week anyway, which is kind of good, but last week, you know what, folks, I just did not enjoy last week. I didn't enjoy my mood. I didn't enjoy my mindset. I didn't enjoy my apathy and my anger, quite frankly, towards the team. That's not my style normally, but man, oh man, was it a humdinger at Tynecastle, and I just couldn't get over it. So this week is going to be a lot better. All, well, obviously aided and abetted by the team this week. But as we get to the last week of the, actually we're less than a week now, isn't it? You know, we've got 3 days, I guess. You know, 2025, it's a great moment for reflection, isn't it, when you get to the new year, hug me nay time and such. And 2025 has just been, you know, I kind of thought, well, we all kind of know that our club is a kind of basket case club, has been for many, many, many years. If you take away, 55 and the subsequent season when we had the run to Seville. But this year, especially when you put it in the container of January to December, is wild. You know, we had four managers. We had four managers in our club. You know, when it went, one thing I was really proud of when I was growing up was that we had something like 16, 17 managers in 130 years or something like that. You know, it was such a short list of managers. And then since then, it's just been this, what would you say, conveyor belt or revolving door of managers. We started with Philippe Clement, we went to Barry Ferguson, we then had the ill-fated spell of Russell Martin, and then after this bizarre comedy of errors, we landed on Danny Rule, and it seems to be the best appointment that we've had of all four thus far anyway, and it'll be really, really interesting to see how he does in the transfer market. I know the transfer market is not just solely based on the manager, but he must have a very, very clear idea. It looks like he has a very clear idea of how he wants to play and who he needs in terms of personnel to be able to make us into the team that he wants us to be, which is a winning team, of course. And then on top of that, we have this takeover from these American businessmen from the 49ers Enterprise Group, and that means that we have Dave King and I'm taking a complete blank on our former chairman's name now. That's terrible. I do apologise about that. But Dave King is gone, and his team are gone too. And then the new guy comes in. We have a new director of football, which we didn't really seem to have after Ross Wilson had left, and then we had Niels Coppin kind of formulating that role, but that wasn't really his base skill set. I mean, like, all of this stuff, it's hard enough for me to see it, as you can tell. And then when you actually put it in the annals of history for us, it's just absolutely bizarre. We then get Kevin Thelwell coming in. He brings in the new manager. We're all absolutely thrilled and delighted with what we're doing. We completely rebuild the squad, save for a couple of players. And it's an absolute disaster of a transfer window for us, so much so culminating in Russell Martin's sacking, culminating in Kevin Thelwell and Patrick Stewart being exited from the organisation, and these are still unfilled roles at this particular point. That's just in a year. And I've said many, many times on this podcast, there is no business that can sustain any sort of success with that type and style of turmoil, that type and style of change in the leadership team. There just isn't. There's no well-oiled machine that you can replace so many different types and styles of roles and give yourself an opportunity to succeed. It's too distracting, is what it is, from the very top, literally from the very top of the organisation down to the playing staff. And no wonder it's been the absolute gong show that it's been thus far. So all that to say, we do have now some key positions that we need to fill in the leadership team, and that will then have a major key influence on what things look like on the playing side. And it's just one of these things. I mean, if you put it in football context, at the beginning of the year, certainly in the first, quarter of the year, we were in a major European quarter final. and then look at our European performances in this side of the year, we've just been a joke in Europe, certainly a joke in Europe compared to what we have been ever since Steven Gerrard came in and got us back to Europe in the first place. So we're just doing this. What we really need to get out of is this constant, fighting to try and create some sort of, or to try and bridge the gap at the top of the league. That's what we're doing. We're always playing catch up, always playing catch up. And it's just, I do it every single week. I'm kind of like, well, if they lose that and then we do that and then the goal difference is only this and that and such like that. And I'm fed up with that. I'd love others just to be chasing us, because what's been very evident when people have been chasing us is they're not very good at it. That mob from the East End just are there in meltdown just as much as we are. And if we can have a strong week this week, and including the two games that we have, which we'll get to in a wee second here, we entered 2026 in the transfer window opening with a wee bit more hope and optimism. And like everything, it could be just one bad week and then I'm depressed again, and then I'm in a bad spot or state or whatever. So I don't know. We just don't seem to have figured out how to start a season properly, and I think that's been the scourge of us for quite some time now. So we'll see what that looks like, but that's the calendar highlights. And then when you add in NARSA and all that junk garbage idiocy we had from the AGM until about a month later, till we got the new executive in and we took a hiatus from the podcast, you might remember if you're a regular listener and such, we haven't had our troubles to seek this season as a club, as an organisation, and hopefully stable and more successful times are on the way. Now, talking about that, on Saturday I came back from the game, and what I like to do is try and just figure out different types and styles of content that might be meaningful for you, or something just a wee tidbit. So I checked the league table and I was looking, and at the time, Dundee United were winning, or I think they were winning at the time, or something like that. But anyway, it looked like, we had the best defensive record in the top six, but the joint lowest scoring record in the top six. But then once the results came to fruition, it looks like we've got the second lowest scoring record. So our goal difference isn't terrible. It's terrible compared to where we think it should be as fans, of course. But when you look at, we have literally got the best defence in the country. Like, how mental does that sound? We've got the best defence in the country. It's a statistical fact. Now, does it feel like that? Does it actually feel like that every time a team is attacking? If you watch the game on the weekend there, did it feel like we've got the best defence in the country? So it's kind of remarkable. And I think a lot of the credit for that has to go down to Danny Rule, because, we have tightened up things at the back. There's no question about that, certainly in comparison to what things were like at the beginning of the season. But it's all the more remarkable when you look at the first choice defenders that have been unavailable to him, in terms of John Sorta, who just came back as a sub at the weekend, in terms of Derek Cornelius, in terms of Giga, who's away with the African Cup of Nations team. Sorry, he's away at the African Cup of Nations, I should say. And then we've got this hodgepodge of a central defence, and we're still the best defence in the league. It's a bit of a joke, isn't it? It feels weird just saying that, to be dead honest. I don't understand it, but that's what the stats say. So if we can build on that and then get to a point where we're actually scoring the chances that we're making, especially the easier chances that we're making, we're not too far away. It's certainly based on the first half of the season, which we're creeping up to here. We'll be at the halfway point of the season by the end of the week here, I think, if memory serves me right. So it's something, losing 15 goals in 18 games doesn't feel like a great return. But when you look at that in comparison to the other teams, it's not the worst for right now. So on to the games. The only game, as you know, that we had was Saturday's 1-0 win over basically the form team of the league campaign anyway, Motherwell, who, I have to admit, folks, I was really impressed by Motherwell. It was one of these games. I thought the game itself, so a couple of weeks ago when we played away at Dundee United and we got that last gasp penalty to get the winner, to get the point from there, I thought it was a really entertaining game, but it was a really entertaining game because of all the mistakes that were made by both teams. It was just like a barroom brawl of a game that day. I thought Saturday's game against Motherwell was the best game that I've seen this season in terms of literal entertainment, in terms of quality of play from both teams. I thought both teams were really good, and it was a really, really enjoyable game. And I tell you what, there was only 6 people down at the club in Calgary here, but all 6 of us, the atmosphere was just was just better. Not because we were handily winning the game or things were going our way, but it was just an enjoyment of the game. I talked a few weeks back about the fact that I'm just falling out of love with the game because Rangers aren't doing that great, and I just can't be bothered watching anybody else. I don't care about any other teams at all in the world. So it's just one of these weird things. But Saturday was a really, really good game. We'd seen that Mikey Moore was starting on the bench, and Danny Rule had confirmed before that he was actually sick, and it was great to see him on the bench because he is one of these impact players for us now. But we started quite slowly. I thought it was all Motherwell the first 15 minutes or so, gave away a couple of really clear chances, and Jack Butland made some great saves. Jack Butland, from the Jack Butland against Hearts at Tynecastle to the Jack Butland against Motherwell, it's like literally two different human beings, isn't it? I mean, he can do these brilliant saves, and he had one in the second half as well. But then around about the quarter hour mark, we just started to come into it, I thought, and started to create our own chances. And we had a few chances. Chermiti was confident enough to try an overhead kick, and he connected with it. Let's just say that, and then we'll leave it at that. With a goal chalked off for Nico Raskin, which I thought for Chermiti interfering with the goalie. I don't understand this one. I didn't understand it at the time. I've seen it on the replay. He's behind the goalie. He's not even touching the goalie when the ball is kicked. So how he can be interfering? If he's standing right in front of the goalie, I understand that because he's in an offside position and it's interference right there. But he had nothing to do with that play there. And I thought a wee bit more of a stringent challenge of that. Maybe there's a rule somewhere that if you're in the vicinity, it doesn't matter if you're in front, at the side or behind, something like that. But in terms of what I've seen, in terms of the actual physical interference, I didn't think it was an interference at all. I thought it was a perfectly good goal. So I was a wee bit upset about that. I thought that was a ridiculous decision, but maybe it's been justified in terms of the rules. As I say, then Chermiti had a great header, I thought, which produced a great save. Both goalies had a great game on the weekend there. And then run about, 65 minutes or so, 65 minutes, Jack Butland, the super Jack Butland. Should I say that again? Every time I say it, I feel like I jinx it. But he had a brilliant save, an absolutely brilliant save to keep us at 0-0 there. And then, it was one of these things where we got that opportunity to really just play football, and we had some amazing chances towards the end of the game. And then it was just overall a very, very entertaining game. Of course, we got the goal through Telo Asgard, who looked relieved when he scored, didn't he? I mean, there was a kind of muted celebration. I was glad he didn't do any of the, the ears sticking out, can you hear me now, or anything like that. And I thought he actually played well. I thought everyone played well on the weekend there, and it was a great goal, a great finish, just to kind of pop that in there. And I think it was a thoroughly entertaining game. I think Motherwell would probably feel a wee bit hard done to not to get a point from that game, but in these tight games like that, that's when the quality shines through. But the chances we had at the end of the game were just not ruthless enough, and we've got strikers on there who should be able to score. Some of the passing was just a wee bit off, and certainly the decision making it made for a frantic end to the game when we didn't need it to be a frantic end to the game. And we've got so much data now in terms of the finishing and in terms of what we can and can't do up front, and we just need to we need to figure out a way to be more ruthless. Shoot on sight, is it that, or actually practice breakaways to give yourself the best opportunity to know and understand what's coming your way when you get to that spot? I'm not 100% sure exactly what the answer is, but tight in the back and very, very, very generous up front. Let's just say that. But entertaining game, very, very happy with that. In terms of the positives, it was a great result. It was a great game. Really enjoyed it. Everyone played well. It was one of these games where I think, I don't think any negatives comes from that game. Asgard playing well and getting the goal. Raskin looked like he was back to his best. He looked absolutely interested for the entire game. Super Jack Butland with the saves that he made at crucial times. Connor Barron stayed on for the full 90 minutes. This time there seemed to be a wee bit of a pattern of giving him 70 or 80 minutes, and he was just immense. He was just the new Stuart McCall, wasn't he? He was just everywhere and put in a great shift, and did his absolute best for us as well. In terms of the negatives, just the chances at the end of the game. Honestly, actually, do you know what? The chances that we gave up at the beginning of the game, it was a bit of a slower start to the game, primarily because of the way Motherwell took the game by the scruff of the neck. But my key thing, and I said this in the club on the weekend, was, do we not do video footage? Do we not sit down and watch the videos in advance and say, This is the type and style of play that Motherwell typically have against these types of teams and against us. This is who their danger folks are. This is what they'll try and do and things like that, because it looked like we were just clueless. We were like, oh, there's another breakaway. That's odd. That's weird, isn't it? I'm not 100% sure that I was expecting. Like, come on, folks. It just seems tactically naive, almost to the point where there didn't seem to be any tactics at the beginning of the game. And then if you bookend that with the end of the game, some of the chances that we missed at the end, not cool. Not cool. That would have been, from a goal difference perspective as well, that would have given us an opportunity to really, truly enjoy the end of the game and get some stats, get some, get the goal difference caught up when the team's ahead of us, of course, and give us that opportunity to close things down a wee bit and get some of the players' stats up as well. Who knows? In terms of the stats, it said the Rangers website said we had 46% possession. So just letting them have the ball and just kind of figuring out what it looks like. But it also said we had 21 shots on goal with 13 on target. I don't know about 30. It certainly felt like that. And then Motherwell had 9 shots with 5 on target. So that's like 30 shots in a game. So that compounds exactly what I said earlier there in terms of the entertainment factor there. And in terms of the referee watch, David Dickinson, I think he had an okay game. On Rangers TV, I didn't actually see what he booked Connor Barron for, but Connor Barron was really, really upset about that. And I didn't see a replay. Maybe they showed the replay later on. I didn't get to see it myself. But other than that, like getting a booking, it seems kind of unjust when tackles are flying in, not from a reckless perspective. I'm going to just dock him a point for that. He's getting 6 out of 10. For this week, because I didn't see it and I don't like the fact that he booked them, and simple as that. 2 games this week. One is tomorrow against League Cup winners. It's the mighty St Mirren from, as you know, the most beautiful town in the entire universe. And that's a 2:45 Eastern Standard Time kickoff. That's 7:45 in the UK. It's our last game of 2025, and it would be good to finish off the last game of 2025 with a victory there. And then the biggie to start off the new year, that's on Saturday, the 3rd of January at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12:30 p.m. UK time. We are away to Sharkhead against that mob. We know what's at stake here. Now, interestingly, they're away to Motherwell tomorrow, and if Motherwell play like they played against us on the weekend there, that could be a very, very interesting game and a very, very interesting result for us. We just have to take care of ourselves. It's not going to be an easy game against Motherwell, but we know what's at stake here. We can't afford to let them go 2 more many points ahead of us as we both enter into the transfer window and a more busy period as we get into January as well. So massive week for us, playing the League Cup champions and what we perceive to be our biggest rivals. That's not what the league table says for right now. That's the games you want to be in. And you want to have these exciting weeks and give ourselves that chance for a wee bit of excitement. And speaking of excitement, on the shout-outs front, Orlando Rangers Supporters Club are having their 30th anniversary party this coming Saturday. If you're in Orlando or in or around the Orlando area, Colin and his crew would absolutely love to see you there. On the weekend, they're going to have the Old Firm game in the morning, and then the evening kicks off around about 6 p.m. and it will go to midnight. And maybe it should say late in there, because I'm not sure that everybody would be absolutely keen on leaving at midnight, especially if the results go our way this week. But yeah, 2026 is the 30th anniversary of the club, and Colin's going to put on a great show, a great spread there, and you'll have an absolutely wonderful time. That's going to be, of course, in the Murphy's Pub, otherwise known as Tav's Tavern, when the games are on there, and you'll get an opportunity to relax, to reconnect, and toast 3 decades of camaraderie, heritage, and good cheer. So get going there. If you're there, go to the game in the morning. I would recommend you take a wee breather after the game and then come back, but it's completely up to you. If you're on holiday, you can do whatever you like, and you can go there and have a good time and stay there the whole day. And if you're still awake come 6 p.m, you'll get a chance to experience the party as well. So good luck to Colin and everyone there for this tremendous milestone. 30 years is absolutely incredible. Just a reminder, we have on Wednesday this week, if you're in the greater Calgary area, we would love to see you at Pinbar on Wednesday afternoon. We're kicking off at 3 o'clock and the bells will be 5 p.m. There'll be a wee quick speech from me. I'll count down the bells. We'll have a wee bit of food. We'll have some some champagne to toast in the year, and we'll have a bunch of beers and say thank you to 2025 and welcome in 2026 with open arms. I'd love to see you there. In the speech, my speech, honestly, I promise you folks, is going to be very, very short. That's the shortest speech of the entire year that I do. If you've ever seen me having a speech or giving a speech, as you say, at the NARSA events, they're a wee bit longer than my New Year ones. My New Year ones are very, very, very brief. So if that in any way sways you to come along, then I have done my job here. Just a reminder for NARCO, the North American Curry Organisation, February the 12th to the 15th. There's an event on the Thursday, the Friday, the Saturday and the Sunday, all centred around the Old Bull and Bush Pub. There's a lot of golf happening there, and the Rangers are playing Hearts on the Saturday morning at the Kakalaki Loyal, which is one of our newer clubs in the NARSA family there. And I have another shout out here, just basically to congratulate or to celebrate a great guy and a regular listener. And this comes from a very good friend of mine, very old friend of mine. Not saying she's old, but we have been friends for, actually, do you know what? That's a point. I think Gillian and I have been friends for probably but 25 years, must be more than 25 years, something along those lines. We met when we both worked for North Lanarkshire Council way back in the day in Wishaw, or Wishy, if that's the area of the country that you are from, and we've remained friends ever since. And she has a good pal of hers who is Jim Graham, and she said he's just a great guy, and it would be great to put a good shout out to Jim, and that's from Gillian McTiernan, of course. So Jim, thanks a million for all of your support. Thanks a million for listening. And anytime I ever asked if you could please share it with someone you think might enjoy it, I hope that you actually did that. I have a feeling that you actually would have, but if you haven't, Jim, already, please do that this week, because your name's on it and you've got the centre stage right now, and people all over the world are literally listening or watching this coming out of my mouth right at this particular moment. So yeah, friend of a friend, Jim, seriously, thank you very, very much for all your support, and I hope that you continue to support us as we move forward into 2026. We had a wee bit of a, what would you say, a health scare on the weekend there. Good pal of ours from down in the Chicago area, Martin Bell, basically bevied way too much on his holiday and had a wee bit of a scare at Ibrox, which gave everybody a wee bit of a fright. We're now at the stage where we're laughing about it in typical West of Scotland fashion, so nothing too serious to report on that, but just a shout out to Martin, and I hope that he and the family are doing okay after that circumstance or situation. Unfortunately, he missed the game and he missed a beauty, so hopefully we'll get a chance to see the replay at some point, but he's doing absolutely fine now, and he is travelling back to the Chicago area tomorrow. So get well soon, my friend. I hope everything is a-okay for you as you return back to the United States. Another reminder for Amanda and Jason Jr. Ross, who are running the London Marathon on behalf of the Royal British Legion, and that was coming up here in April. The link will, as always, be left in the show notes there. And another, I guess this would be the second last shout out for David Edgar, CJ Novo and Stevie Clifford for their live show at Edmiston House on the 9th of January. I think I'll try and get one or maybe both of the guys on next week. This week's a wee bit on the busy side. Actually, it's a wee bit on the, everybody's kind of just taking a wee breather from each other's side, with it being in between Christmas and New Year. So it's just one of these times where we don't get too much of an opportunity to connect. But I'll try and get these guys on next week if I can and see where that goes from there. In terms of the convention update, it's 163 days and 23 weeks until Nashville 2026. And that is, of course, June the 11th to the 14th. The tickets are out on sale now, as are the hotel rooms. Please don't delay in getting your rooms booked or your tickets booked as well. It helps us know and understand what the event is going to shape up and look like as we are moving forward with the planning. And in terms of the planning, we are going to be in a position to announce the MC, who we've just confirmed there this past week. And we're also in the kind of later stages of negotiations with the VIP players. One of the key things that was said to us at the time was it would be nice to mix up the players. Everybody really enjoys the players that come along with us, but it would just be nice to see and hear some different to see some different faces and hear some different stories. So that's really what we're concentrating and focusing our efforts on, and we're hoping in the early part of January to have an announcement or 2 or 3 for you. And I can tell you, folks, you will not be disappointed by the folks that we are considering, the folks that we're having positive interactions with. So congratulations and thanks to Brian and Alan for all of the hard work on that. So yeah, get organised on that. We've got the itinerary pretty much solidified, so we'll get a nice graphic out on that as well in terms of the football, the golf, the Tam Plunkett Blue Night, the Walter Smith Memorial Grand Banquet, and how all that fits and sits in with the itinerary incorporating the World Cup, of course. So exciting times ahead for us, but please do get your tickets and your hotel booked. In terms of the communication for this week, I did not check the GERS guide this morning. I'm not 100% sure if it got published or not, so I'm going to give you the GAS guide. I imagine that we will have the press conference today for tomorrow's St Mirren game, and then Thursday, Friday, there'll be the press conference for the Old Firm game on the weekend. There's no Rangers women's team fixtures out there, so I don't imagine there'll be a whole bunch of content in and around that. The Lone View will probably come out tomorrow, as it typically does, and there'll be some other great stuff out there. My apologies, folks. It's been a kind of busy morning, and I need to go and meet my accountant here in about 5 minutes, so I'm going to wrap this up kind of quickly here. But yeah, no Rangers women's team games, as I say. And I think the exciting part for me in terms of communication is hopefully over the next 3 to 4 weeks, that we'll have an opportunity to be talking about new players coming in and how they're actually going to help the team, whether it be shorter term or longer term, and have a real push in the league and certainly look to properly compete in the Scottish Cup. That's the plan anyway. So there's going to be a lot of really good communication content coming out, I see there. And just in terms of content, we did have a wee bit of a wobble, a wee bit of a technical challenge. Do you want to say that? Something like that in terms of our Instagram profile last week. So if you've seen anything a wee bit odd or haven't seen anything on the Instagram profile, we ended up kind of locking ourselves out by accident. So I know that Colin and Connor are working on that to get that back up and running as quickly as we can. So we will see how that goes over the next wee while, but just to let you know that we know that that's happened and that we are in the process of getting it fixed. Another wee reminder from a president's and secretary's perspective: if you received an email for an interview with both Alan McWatt, NARSA President, and Gary Fleming, the NARSA Vice President, then please do respond to that. We would really, really love to hear from you, see where we can help you and give you the support that you need. And of course, this is the point where I say, please do go to our YouTube channel. You get to see my beautiful face every single week bringing you this content. Today's t-shirt is our pole shirt, I should say, is my, what is it, Windsor? I think it's Windsor. Yeah, Windsor 2019. That was when the convention was there, just before the pandemic. And that was actually the last convention that my dad attended. That's the last one that we got to go to together. So very poignant for me. It was a great convention, great time down there. I actually really enjoyed that one. And I don't know what I'm going to wear next week. So if you tune into YouTube, please do like and subscribe. That's the key. And please also do subscribe on whatever podcast channel you listen to. We actually put together a document that gives you the how-to subscribe to the various platforms, because maybe it's not that intuitive for some people. So we'll get that out. I'll chat to Colin about that this week, and we'll get that out as well. Okay, folks, I am going to love you and leave you. Thank you very, very much, as always, for taking the time to tune in. I really, really, really appreciate it. This is a massive week for us. We've got two games, two winnable games, I think, two difficult games coming up. And then we have a period of, is it transition or bolstering or whatever that looks like? But these next two games is going to give us a really good opportunity to know what our experience is going to be in terms of supporting the team for the next 5 months. So I hope it's a really, really positive one, I should say. 2 wins, Rangers, just 2 wins, and just let me come back here next Monday absolutely buzzing and flying. Until this time next week, please do take care of yourselves, and happy Hogmanay and happy New Year when it comes, my friends. Follow.